So the name Harran seems to have become a theophoric name of the god, synonymous with the moon god Sin. Harran received a name that referred to the moon similar to Jerra and Terra. And the temple of Bilqis, Queen of Sheba, was a moon god temple, which in fact misled the Arabs to think that Solomon's god Yahweh must have been a moon god as well. So because the Queen of Sheba, her main temple was to Al-Makkah, the moon god, they thought that Yahweh must be a moon god as well. So as you can, that's not a complete slide. It's still in blue. I'm working on that. Now, let's look at El. El is ancient Semitic term for deity. It's a general term. In the Syrian, you have Ilu. You remember last week I spoke of Karabi Ilu, right? From the Makoraba, from the Mukaribs, and also Ugarit Il. Generic word for God in the Semitic languages, used over 200 times in the Old Testament. Now, El was the chief and somewhat vague, shadowy god of the Canaanite pantheon, and the title is used in the Old Testament to express the exalted transcendence of Yahweh. So the Hebrews borrowed this word from the Canaanites. The linguistic derivation of the name is not sure. Suggestions include roots that mean to be strong and to be in front of, as a leader. Now, the Canaanite god El was the father of human beings and of gods, called father of mankind and the father of years. However, El, the Canaanite god El, was an immoral and debased character. He was not moral the way that we would view the god Yahweh to be moral. It is a tribute to the high morality of the Old Testament understanding of God that a title that in Canaanite usage was so defiled could be used to express the moral majesty of the God of Israel. So just as the word God in English can be used of the true God or of false gods, this word in Hebrew may refer to heathen gods and usually refers to idols. In Strong's H410, we have El, and notice it's used in Sabaean, in Assyrian, in Nabatean, Phoenician, Palmyrene, as well as in Assyrian, Alat. You'll see here in Assyrian, Alat. In Sabaean, they have DHM. So I think that is Dimit, but that I'll get to when we talk about Ethiopia next time. It's also in Arabic. So it's in the Syriac. So this word is very common within all of these languages. And we can see here Alat is an Assyrian goddess. So again, from Mesopotamia, found in Arabia. And of course, here we have Baalim, Be'el, Hallel, that's a very interesting one, and Ka'el. Okay, so now I'll skip on to that. So Yahweh replaced the god El as Israel's God. Now, question here, the religion of Abraham. Muhammad had companions that were looking for the religion of Abraham because they rejected Judaism because they felt that there wasn't, well, they rejected Judaism as the religion of Abraham, right? Because they said that this came with Moses, right? And therefore, what religion was Abraham worshiping before the advent of Judaism? They don't understand the Noahide laws. They don't understand Judaism. They did not understand Judaic religion. However, prior to that, of course, the religion of Abraham was moon worship. So in Judges 3:7, we read that during Joshua's time, what the Israelites did was offensive to Yahweh. They ignored Yahweh and they worshipped Baalim, plural of Baal, and Asherot, known as Atherat, which is a plural of Asherah. These are all the same God. Asherot, Atherat, Asherah. So in Kings, we've got Baal and Asherah. And of course, Baal's wife, Asherah, was also known as Baalah, right? Baalah was the name of Baal's wife. You've got multiple references to this. I'm not going to go into depth here. So in Agarit as well, we have references again to Athirat, the consort of the great god El. Athirat is the Ugaristic linguistic equivalent of the Hebrew Asherah, and Atera is also, well, in the Arabian pantheon. Now, let's go back to Yemen. So this area, the Hadramaut, okay, these Yemenis actually invaded Arabia, and they conquered this whole area you see here in brown. Now, according to some sources, these people were simply nomadic, and maybe some of them were. There's no reason to assume that they weren't. However, they established cities. They built towns and cities. Nomads don't build permanent cities. This is their capital here, Qaryat al-Faw, also known as Qaryat Datkal, right? So now you've got this whole area, which includes Medina and Mecca, which they control. So these Yemenis actually invaded and controlled all of Central Arabia. This is around the year 500. So they control this entire region. Give me a second. I need to plug in my keyboard because the battery just went on. Okay, done. So now you've got these Yemenis who worship these moon gods, and they've now taken over Central Arabia. So now, and they were called the Kinda. So they were called the Kinda. And this was the Central Arabian kingdom of Kinda, Kindat al-Malak. Al-Malak is kings. So the Muslim sources agree that the Hadramaut was the original homeland of the tribe of Kinda, an offshoot which founded the Central Arabian kingdom of Kinda, the Kindat al-Malak. The capital still stands today, southeast of Mecca. The gods they worshipped include Kal, also, you can see Ka'el, the Jewish god, El, right? So at least in the Jewish script, we saw Ka'el. And also Atta al-Sharik, okay? And a god called La. Interestingly, a god called La. So now, Al-Sharik means rising from the east. It also means sunrise, and it also means, it's a reference to the sun, and it also means companion or partner of the main god, right? So this is a partner to the main god. Now, South Arabian inscriptions from the 4th to 5th century refer also to, interestingly, to a god called the Rahman, the merciful one, who had a monotheistic cult and was referred to as the Lord of heaven and earth. Now, Rahman, the merciful one, is basically Yahweh, the God of the Bible, because you had the influence of Christianity on that region. And what happened was Islam absorbed Rahman, who was a monotheistic God, into Islam, right? As one of the names and as the character of Allah. So Aaron Hughes states that scholars are not sure whether he developed from earlier polytheistic systems or developed due to the increasing significance of the Christian and Jewish communities. So Rahman was a god of, so we'll see later, Rahman was the name of the Jews and Christians' God, Rahman. And on top of that, Muhammad was not the only prophet at the time, not the only fake prophet at the time. He was competing with a number of other prophets. There was one other guy whose group also happened to worship the monotheistic Rahman. Very interesting. So let's borrow the name of Yahweh. So a second question concerns the nature of Allah, right? Was he the God of the supporters of monotheism or God of pagan origin? In the oldest revelations of the Quran, very interestingly, thank you very much, Ben Yosef. Well, much appreciated. So in the oldest revelations of the Quran, the name of Allah does not appear. So when Muhammad refers to God, he says the Lord, or if he wants to give him a name, he calls him Rahman, al-Rahman, which is the name of the one God of the Jews and the Christians of Arabia, but also the name of the God of the followers of Musaylima,